Welcome to Empower Hour. Let's get growing. So good to be here, you guys. I'm in my little makeshift Dominican Republic studio that I absolutely am loving and learning all the things I need. This trip, I am here the longest. So Jen Mar here, Soulful Prosperity Coach. And today we are going to talk about awareness. And awareness has been the foundation of what I call soulful prosperity, where clarity, confidence, and certainty begin. And this has had the biggest influence in my life. 29 years in the real estate career, and all I did was do and do and do and do. And awareness really helped me to shed light on all areas of my life that I wanted to grow in, and to have that clarity and that understanding of the areas of your life where you are not growing and where you are in resistance really impacts everything. And quite frankly, most of you guys that tune in are entrepreneurs, business owners, and we forget that what we're doing Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, if you're anything like me, it can sometimes and quite often be 24/7, is not helping you to grow in all the areas in your life that you desire to. And then maybe you're not even aware that you desire to have this kind of growth. So vision casting, if you could put that slide up, Jose, vision casting was one of the things that really helped me to bring awareness to all areas in my life. Yes, you guys, I still have my KPIs and I'm, creating goals and doing all of that, but doing the process of vision casting so that I am setting my growth trajectory based on all the areas of my life, bringing awareness to all the areas of my life in which I want to grow in, was literally one of the most powerful things. So I am giving this workshop for free because that's how huge of an impact it made on helping me to understand who I am and what kind of life I was creating. Because quite frankly, I was doing most of it by default. So this morning, you can take the slide down now, Jose. I now want to help. I am brought in to discuss this important topic of awareness, and it was his idea. And I love it because, when someone plants the thought in your mind, then awareness was top of mind for me all week. And Justin, you're going to love this, but I've been on like a self-guided Joe Dispenza retreat for the last 5 days. And obviously awareness is a huge part of that topic. So I'm thrilled to be joined by this incredible guest, Justin Breen. He is the CEO of Epic Life Network and a true visionary in the world of business and leadership. And it was his idea, this topic today. So let me welcome Justin.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
Good.
All right. You're here.
We did it.
It's early where you are. What time is it?
7 a.m. Been up since 5 a.m. and got the 3 mile, 5 kilometer run in this morning. It snowed here. First big snow of the year yesterday, so pitch black. Great run this morning though.
Where are you again?
Northern suburbs of Chicago.
That's what I thought. Yeah. New York got snow this morning too, and I was really glad to be here. But fantastic. I love Chicago. What a great city. What a great place to be.
Yep.
So I asked you what you want to talk about, and you said awareness. So, what does awareness mean to you?
Oh, it's a great question. This wonderful this wonderful magazine for entrepreneurs in the Middle East asked me to write an article for them that they're going to publish. So I sent it to them yesterday. And the I guess the opening line, I talk about this book here. I'll show it. The Prophet. That's good here. It's by well, he was born in Lebanon, Khalil Gibran. It came out in 1923, so century ago. And I loved his definition uh, um, about work and then about love. So I'll make everyone aware of this. So one is work is love made visible, and then love has no desire other than to fulfill itself. So like none of this stuff that I do, and I think a true visionary, none of this is work. I mean, it's just expressing love in a visible way. Um, and then I have an ability to my whole life is talking to the world's top visionaries or people that won't make excuses to become people like that, and then I can hear what they say and listen and then simplify it into patterns or books or companies or articles or songs, and then I'm grateful that people like Dr. Deepak Chopra are doing introduction for next book. So like it's fun living in that world, and then I think that creates awareness for what's going on a macro level, on a global level, at scale. So whatever you want to ask in regards to that, I'm happy to talk.
Well, I love that statement because I have come to that place in my life where focusing on bringing in love and joy in every scenario, even the shitty ones, you guys, is really,
Yeah,
and it's shitty because we perceive it that way. But
right.
work is not love for everybody, right? It's a choice. It's a choice based, So how did you come to a place to make that choice?
Oh, it's a fair question. And again, awareness. And that's a question based on fear logic. And I live my life on gut, heart, love, intuition, and have always lived like that. And most of the world, which is fine, it's a mask living on outer fear, and they're not healed within, so they're living in logic, outer fear, brain, and uh, I can just feel that at a very very strong level, deeply intuitive, and I don't really overthink anything. I never really have, and then most people are very confused by that because they're searching for outer as opposed to looking inner.
Hmm.
And so even answering like that creates awareness for what's actually happening. And I guess in terms of a strategic answer to that, there's a great assessment called human design. Human design. Strongly recommend folks look into
Life
that.
changing, life changing. Agreed.
Right. Yep, correct. And you just plug in um, your name, when you were born, what day. The key is that you have to know what time of day you were born. Then the typical response I get to that is, "I'll text my mom or I'll call my mom." No one ever says, "I'll call my dad." Like it's literally kind of funny,
And you
but
have to know where you were born.
and
It's
where you were born. Yep. So,
yeah,
the one thing that holds people back is that some people don't know exactly what time. But anyway, okay. So, with that, most of the world, again, making people aware, most of the world is either a generator, a manifesting generator, or a projector. So, as simply as possible to explain that, they need to take energy or something from someone else, and then they'll create something with it. Okay.
right.
So I am what's called a manifester. It's very rare. It's less than 9% of the population. So I can just feel something or like very briefly think about it and then it will happen. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. You have to wait
Right.
for people to catch up, but it will happen. Manifestors are the only ones that can really really do that. And then why I'm expressing it like this is manifestors have to tell people how they feel, whether they love them or they're being annoyed by a question. They have to tell them that because it creates peace. It's not to bother anyone, it's to create peace. And I guess for this topic, awareness. So that's why any question that's asked, regardless of who it's from, that's why I answer it like that. It's to create awareness and actually to create peace.
I like that. I like that. So for those of us who don't have this awareness instantly, and I've been blessed with a lot of awareness, but not in all areas of my life. I had like huge blind spots.
Right.
And so for me, awareness is the ability to be fully present and connected to your thoughts, actions, and surroundings. You're not in the past. You're not,
Right.
in the recent past, and even not necessarily in the future. You're in this present moment, and highlighting that, cultivating that awareness is the starting point for true change, right? For designing a life where you feel free and you're in joy and in love. So why do you think awareness is essential for high achievers?
I mean, it's essential for anyone, but I mean, high achievers are, I'll answer it like this. Um, because visionaries are the highest achievers, but they're achieving something for a greater good. They're not achieving something for themselves. They're not achieving something for their ego. They're not achieving something for narcissism. They're achieving something for a global change. So the word business means anxiety. The word sale means dull and dirty. I don't live in that world. It's too painful for me to live in that world. I learned it, and so I just hang out with visionaries or people that want to do that, and then their achievements are not about them. It's about honoring a higher power in the way it is about them healing their own heart to heal the world's heart. But um, to to have awareness for that, I don't think there's anything more important than that. Um, And then one of my favorite, if not my favorite quote, is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. To be great is to be misunderstood. To be great is to be misunderstood. And visionaries are the most misunderstood people on the planet because um, uh, people don't understand why they're like thinking past their own lifetime. And one of my favorite visionaries was the inventor of kindergarten. In Prussia/Germany, it was banned. Kindergarten was banned the year before he died. The government banned it because banned kindergarten because it went against religion at the time, and so it was too secular. So they banned it. They banned kindergarten, and so the guy's like, I can't remember Gerbil or Gevel, but he's like Frabel in Germany, and he's like he begged the Prussian kings like, please don't ban, don't do that. I mean, it's kindergarten. And after he died, obviously they reinstated it, and then one of his distant relatives is running, the school, one of the schools that he started or founded. So like that to me is a true visionary, and creating awareness that it's not about the visionary, it's about something far beyond that on a global, multi-generational scale. So I think that's important to know that if you're really a visionary, if you're someone that's really just trying to feed your own ego.
I love that, because you know what it's like so many of us, when I talk about that, I'm talking about business owners and entrepreneurs. We think we're visionaries.
Well, business owners are anxiety owners. That's what.
Yeah. So, but we think we got into this for freedom, right?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. They're thinking. That's logic. It's thinking is the true visionary feels things first intuitively.
Exactly. And so they end up building themselves what I like to call a golden cage that they're completely trapped in.
Well, they're again, if you business means by Zygnus, which means anxiety. That's what they're. So that's all it is. It's very simple. Once
And
you
so
know what it means, that's what it is.
exactly. So do you believe by cultivating awareness and putting the focus on a greater good,
Mm.
And when you put a focus on a greater good, you by default begin to, if you want to truly grow in this area, you by default are letting go of fear, letting go of scarcity. And a true visionary is okay with a question mark around money, right? And when you are focused on this greater good, this just happens naturally. How do you think someone can cultivate this?
Well, I appreciate that. The how question, anything with a how is a logical based question. I don't live in a how world. I live in you just do it and see what happens. Yesterday, I was introduced. His name's Fernando Garibay. So we were supposed to talk for 25 minutes. We talked for over an hour, and then we're talking again next week. So he started the Garibay Institute, and then I guess he's more well known for being the executive producer for the Lady Gaga. So he works with Sia and stuff, and he's 41 or 42. I'm 47. So we had this amazing talk, and we're going to do some type of collaboration. We'll talk again next week, but he and I were talking how rare this type of ability is in the world, and then he has the ability to scale it. So he can take a creative or an artist like Lady Gaga, and he has the ability to scale it with. I mean, his IQ and EQ are off the charts, even for the people I talk to. He's a very high level genius, and the true visionary, you have to have both the EQ and the IQ. And part of that is having the capital or money, whatever, to do it. Because talk is it's meaningless to me. And if you don't have the capital to do something, you're constantly looking for the capital to do something. So to me, there are no excuses. My litmus test is my father. He was 61 when I was born. World War II hero, shot down multiple times in combat, many times without a parachute, and would get back into a plane. He would just get back into a plane. That's my, and then I was talking to, because I was asking Fernando yesterday, I go, you don't come from money, do you? He goes, no, I was a Mexican farmer family. So like, I don't, but most people that in terms of the money fear aspect, they make excuses their whole life with that. A true visionary does not do that. That's what separates. And then two, all I do is talk to visionaries, not business owners, not consultants. And there are only four things that separate visionaries from non-visionaries. Again, as a manifester, creating awareness, this is to create peace. This is how it is. You're either like this or you make an excuse. So 4 things. 1, bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. 2, depression. 3, highest level of anxiety you can imagine. 4, trauma as a child or young adult. So business owners, whatever that world is, those are excuses. Visionary, figure it out. No excuses. No, there are no excuses. And no excuses means not having fear. Like and if you do have fear, you just transform that into doing whatever it takes to do it.
Right. So, but not everybody is a visionary, right?
Almost no one is a visionary.
So then talking to not everybody that's not visionary, the topic is awareness. How do they cultivate awareness?
Right. So I connect visionaries to serve humanity. So by connecting visionaries, they can help everyone else.
So if everybody...
Visionaries create the structures that help everyone else, even though they don't even know they're being helped many times. I have a singular purpose. And then if folks can cultivate that singular purpose, they can have a wonderful life, regardless of whether they're visionaries or not. I have one purpose.
I think everybody has the capability of cultivating
They
awareness.
do, they make excuses. Yep.
Right. So that aside, right, getting rid of the excuses, because all the excuses is resistance. And the more resistance that you have, the less of the gifts and all the blessings and all the abundance that is available to all of us when we can let go of resistance. And, you know, I'm somebody who is kind of rare. I'm both a visionary and an implementer.
Yeah.
And that is rare because you're
Yes.
usually one or the other.
Yes. I used to be that too.
Yeah, I would love to get fully in a space where I am full visionary, and that's what I have to cultivate it. You know, that is something that I have to work on based on.
But you're aware of it, and you know, life it's an evolution. You know, things a child can do, like tying my shoes, and I was talking to Fernando about this yesterday because he's dyslexic. But probably 30 to 40% of the people I talk to are dyslexic. So like a lot of people I talk to barely went to college, or they can, you know, barely read. Um, you know, uh, me like doing typical human things like putting on my kid's bike helmet, almost impossible for me. Doing a puzzle, installing a light bulb, almost impossible. But I just don't do it because it's not a good use of time. But what I've learned is that another great quote from Earl Nightingale: Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Success is progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So I just stay in my worthy ideal, connecting visionaries to serve humanity, and then that, you know, I've seen that transform from being a visionary slash integrator with first company to now just being a pure visionary with second company, and then really being a pure visionary by writing books and now writing songs, and then we'll see what that evolves to. But it's the same worthy ideal. The worthy ideal doesn't really change. It kind of like maneuvers a little bit, but it's always connecting visionaries to serve humanity in some capacity.
So how do you spend your time?
That's a fair how question. I appreciate that one. I had to think. I had to think about that one. Okay. Let me turn on my okay. So today is Friday. So okay, I'll answer it like this. So later today, um, okay, I'm gonna answer it like this. So later today, I have a meeting with. I haven't met her before, so I don't know much about her, but she's a visionary. After that, I have a meeting with someone who lives in the 5D universe. After that, I have a meeting with a speaker booking agent who works with the top AI speakers on planet, and one of my top AI people introduced me to him. After that, I'm meeting with a friend who just introduced me to her friend, who's putting me on speaking tour in Abu Dhabi, London, Florida, and Hamptons, and then one of them is at a yacht with a very famous hotel family. And the question I asked them yesterday was, can I wear this hat and then this hoodie? And then they said no. So that was my one question. Okay, and then after that, talking to Sir Carlos Warder, who's uh, like the alchemist, but he's real, like he's a real human. So he's in his 70s. He's a great mentor. And then after that, talking to one of my visionary friends who's doing a book community for the Epic Journey book, the next one that's coming out. So that's how I'm spending today. That's a normal Monday through Friday, however. Um, and then I do a lot of things like this, virtual speaking. Going to start doing in-person speaking, and then our global mastermind that I started, but my wife and her assistant and our members run it. Like I don't do any of the backstage stuff because I destroy the company. But we meet 3 to 4 times a month virtually, and then we do 2 in-person events a year. So that's like that's the company aspect. It's a company aspect of purpose, if that makes sense.
Justin, do you think there's visionaries out there that are dormant, that
Yes.
aren't aware? So
Yeah,
let's speak to
100%, because visionaries are usually aliens within their own families, communities, and verticals. No one understands them, and they're just floating around. And that's the key of awareness. You're like, why does no one understand me? And then the true visionary will they'll they'll come out. They'll come out eventually. They'll have to, because uh, a true visionary would never just stay dormant. They would come out. They'd be like, "Well, what's wrong with me?" Well, nothing's wrong with you. Just people don't understand you. But yes, there's lots of them, many. Um, Overall, small percentage of society, because I've only seen 4 types of visionaries or whatever. ADD, not a disorder. That's 95% of the people I talk to. Not a disorder. Autistic. My wife, who is a doctor, has unofficially diagnosed me with that. I'm happy to take that one on. 3 is dyslexic. 30 to 40% of visionaries are dyslexic. My wife and I were just on Necker Island earlier this year. That's where Sir Richard Branson lives. He's very dyslexic. He's also probably the biggest extrovert I've ever met, and I don't say that lightly. But and then 4, true visionary is high IQ and high EQ. You have to have both. You have to have the EQ, the intuition, gut, but then you have to have the IQ to mechanize it. Because if you don't, then you're it's a street fair vendor and hippie on street, which is fine. That's totally fine. But true visionary, you have to have the IQ to mechanize. You have to have both.
Listen, my plan B is to just go walk around the beach and sing for money. So I don't know. There's something to it.
I don't see that happening.
So if there are visionaries out there that are dormant, right? I think you just described what a visionary is, but what is the status of a visionary who is not aware of this amazing calling?
Oh,
I'm trying not to ask how questions, so I'm going around.
but I mean, so that's not up to me. That's no.
Now I know it's not up to you, but like, here's an opportunity. I always like my mission is to
Right. I connect people like you to people like you, and you help everyone else. That's my point.
is to awaken, right? I truly believe, and it's like my life. I had this calling.
You did.
But you know what? It went in such a direction because there was no mentors. There was, and maybe I never needed that. And obviously the path was the path, and it was meant to be. But like when I ended up on the streets, it's because I desired the freedom. It's because I didn't respect everything I saw around me. It's because I didn't feel like this life was like it. I was meant to be here. Who are these people?
Right.
What is going on? So just help me describe that a little bit. It's hard for me to describe that because I was so in it. Whereas it seems like your experience has been recognizing and aware of this visionary capability from a very young age. So what about people like me who are often try not to ask the how questions? What can they recognize in themselves besides feeling alienated from everybody and to get into empowerment?
Well, there's 2 things from that. I was talking to think of the opposite of me, personality wise, that would be my wife. So she's a pediatrician. Harmony, love, different kind of love, but harmony, order, calendar items. And so I was asking a similar question to what you just said to me. I was asking that to her because I'm like, well, why isn't everyone like this? Well, because like, and she's like, oh, they're just not ready. They're not meant to do that in this lifetime. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. They're just not, which is okay. It's fine. Right. A true visionary will just do it. I mean, they're just going to do it. One of my friends, his grandfather was decapitated in front of him in Burma, not Myanmar, Burma. And he and his dad went to Hong Kong with $10 in their pocket when he was a kid, and so he created 2 8-figure companies. He and his dad, and then he hired the first company I had was a PR firm. I don't really focus on that anymore, but he hired the PR firm. He created an at-home robot for his mom who has Alzheimer's dementia. So the robot like dispenses pills and stuff and keeps them company. So, but that's what, that's a vision. Most people aren't like that. I don't think they watch their grandfather getting decapitated in front of them or go to Hong Kong with $10 in their pocket. So I've learned, and regardless of whether it's an 8-figure company or not, that it's good, but it's okay. But like I've had to become more aware that almost no one is like this, and to be okay with that. Um, and then once you're aware of that, because success is progressive realization of worthy ideal, then there's two options. One, you can keep complaining about it, or just say, well, I just focus on what I'm supposed to be doing, and that can help the most people. So I focus when I'm supposed to be doing, um, connect the people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then if other people come along on that, then that's great. That's wonderful. That would be amazing. Uh, and then if not, then that's their decision. It has nothing to do with what I'm doing. I just know what I'm supposed to be doing on this planet, and grateful for that. Very, very grateful.
Mm,
And then there's two things I get again assessments. One, it's called Gene Keys, Gene Gene Keys. Uh, Very simple to fill out. Just to what you said earlier, there's literally no one for me to follow. No one, according to Gene Keys. No role model. Nothing. No, so
mm,
okay, figure it out. I don't figure it. So create this own path. Why wouldn't you do that? But I learned there's no one for me to follow, which makes perfect sense. No
I can
excuses.
relate
There's
to
one
that.
to follow. And then two, uh, again, what I've learned is logic only goes so far. After that, the only logic is illogic and love. So, thinking like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Well, of course it doesn't, because there's no logic behind it, and it's your brain fear talking. And the heart intuition is much stronger than that. But from that perspective, numerology, I'm an 11 life path. Very rare, very, very rare, shocking. It's called a master number. And then 11 life paths are the most spiritual, the most intuitive, the very deeply, deeply empathetic, very sensitive. I've been writing love poems and love songs lately, which I did not expect that. And now got invited to Nashville to do a hit song. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do that. But because writing love poems, why wouldn't you do that? But so just how I was born to be this person, and then you kind of learn about it through assessments, uh,
Right.
and meeting people, and then you learn from them, and then they learn from you, and you just keep learning, learning, learning. And then my job again is to create awareness and inform people, and hopefully that helps them stop asking questions where they're afraid and they actually just follow their heart. But that's not up to me. It's up to them.
Right. Well, I think that comes back to awareness again, right? Really understanding your
Right.
purpose and why you're here. Guys, that didn't happen to me until like 4 years ago. And
Right. Well, of course, because human design, or your true wisdom doesn't kick in until age 50. I mean, I haven't
oh,
even been
say
born
that
yet.
again. Say it
Oh,
again.
human design, true wisdom doesn't kick in till around age 50. So I'm negative 2 years old. I haven't even been born yet.
That's amazing. And again, it boils down to that awareness. And then, even if you begin with just being aware that you are not aware. I mean, it sounds
100%, of course.
it's
And
like
by the way, you're never fully aware.
right,
And specifically for 11, again, if you're not a litmus test for people you serve, you can't. So that's hypocrisy. So I connect visionaries to serve humanity. I'm a visionary serving humanity, and if I don't know anything about myself, how can I help others learn about themselves? Like, that's hypocrisy. So as an 11 life path, there's never an answer. Your whole life, there's never a complete answer. So you're always constantly learning, constantly. So that's fine. I'm aware of that. Never going to be an answer.
I feel that. I feel that deeply. And so, for me, it's not as simple as it seems. And I don't mean to
No, I
belittle
understand.
that. I know that you have been through your journey,
Yeah.
but so now, like, I put in a practice, and I am I've been meditating for 20 years. And quite frankly, it didn't really cultivate the awareness. I know once I got off the mat, for so many years, I had this persona here and this persona there. So
Yeah.
bringing it together is through awareness was the only way to do that. Becoming aware that, wow, I have like a different persona here than I do over there. Took this many years. So literally just sitting here and when my mind goes somewhere else, bringing it back. Mind goes somewhere else, bringing it back. Focus, concentrating, doing that
Good
2
book.
times a day. What is it? Uncertainty. Who's that by? Hold on.
Hema Chandra.
Oh, I'm a huge Pima Chandra fan. I'm actually mentoring with Jack Cornfield and Tara Brock right now. I don't know if you know them, but they're good friends with her. And Ram Dass was a big part of that community. Amazing people, all about awareness.
Right.
Something else that I like about you is love, right? I love how you said like your wife's version of love is the harmony and, you know, kind of like this touchy feely, because when you talk to you, you don't exude empathy. That's not what comes off. So but one of the greatest lessons that I learned in my life is sometimes the most loving and compassionate thing you can do is not put up with people's bullshit or not
do that. Why would you do that?
But it's so counterintuitive to our definition of love. And that was probably my greatest challenge as a coach, was not being in fear. And anybody who's any leadership position who's listening to this, being in fear of having those conversations or just being able to give direct, straight feedback. I love that, how you're able to do that without, you know, you just do it. And that has been a big, huge challenge for me. Recovering people pleaser, which I never would have thought, because I was very tough and rough around the edges, but really ultimately I was driven by caring what people, not the world. I was a really weird people pleaser. I didn't give a flying
F. So weird means weird comes from the word WYRD, which means following your destiny. So following your purpose.
Yes.
So weird is good,
I guess, because I didn't care about the world. I was confident, but the people closest to me is where I felt I needed to fix and control and help and all of that. And whoa, that did not work out well.
Oh, that sounds horrible. But the and then I'm reading this book, Master. I just read it, but I've got all these love books and
Ruiz, right? That's Miguel Ruiz.
Yeah. Oh, I had the page open. I had to pick. Oh, the only way to master love is to practice love. So, you know, all these, you know, I guess tangible material things have happened this year. Like, it's great, but the number one thing I've learned this year is unconditional love. That's what I've learned.
What does that mean to you?
Great question. Great question. And you said what? Good, not how. Can't really describe that one with a how.
No.
The unconditional love is first having unconditional love for yourself, forgiving yourself, and then unconditional love for a person or persons, and then as a manifester, because I'll just manifest it and say it, and then it'll happen. It's creating that on a macro level. And I was talking, again, this makes perfect sense with how you asked that, and then what happened yesterday, and then the people I'm talking to today. But I was talking to Fernando Garibay, you know, these books and stuff and songs. I think what they really are is showing people how to practice unconditional love for yourself, then someone else who's very special to you, or however you want to describe that, and then doing that then at a macro level to heal the world's heart, because the world is just a giant broken heart. Individuals broken, they're just hearts are broken because they don't have any relationship with themselves. So I think what has been done, you know,
because they lack awareness.
Well, they're well, a world's just a mask, M-A-S-K, but M-A-S-Q-U-E is where it comes from, a fool. So they're building all this outer stuff, which is fine. I mean, it's okay, but they're just unhealed. There's no awareness for what the real problem actually is, or the real situation. And so spiritually or divinely, because I don't really take any of the credit for this. I mean, I can barely tie my shoes, so it just came to me, and so grateful to be the one that can hopefully help a lot of. I mean, yeah. So this book isn't even out yet, and yeah, yesterday, uh, two of the people who are my friends, they're sending me poems. Like, what? Okay, thanks. I think that's pretty funny, but so that's what it'll it'll create that on a macro level, and then to do that, then that means. And I'm grateful for this. It means partnering with amazing people like Dr. Deepak Chopra and his team. I mean, like, so you just okay, that's just part of what it is. And then you know, collaborating with people like Fernando Garibay, who's this amazing visionary who, you know, saw an ability in someone like Lady Gaga, and then he has the IQ and EQ to scale that. Like he can, he very few people can do that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
they're not, most people are born this way. They're not born like that to be able to do that. And then he and I were talking yesterday, and we both agreed it was, one of the uh, people. The two words I hear the most in conversations, how they describe it, are refreshing and nourishing. Oh, this is refreshing. No one ever talks like this. Well, of course not, because this business owner world of anxiety, what'd you call it, a golden prison or whatever. That
Golden
sounds.
page.
Hey, that sounds fun. Yeah, that sounds really fun. I mean, wow. And they're like, oh, this is refreshing and nourishing, and so that's how it felt with him yesterday. That's why it went over an hour, and we were supposed to do for 25 minutes, and we're talking again next week. But um that's part of the game. Like, if you have this ability to do something, then why would you not want to scale that on a global level? Well, why would you not want to do that? It's
Yeah.
a simple question. Why would you not want to do that?
And I think that whether you're a visionary or an integrator, an implementer, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to label it, you can figure out what makes you feel good and do more of that and do more of that and do more of that
Yes.
and make that your priority
Yes.
and what you focus on. And so if you're in a position in life where you feel not everybody's like ready to just leave their job, shut their business and do that and do that, then just do that. And you just talk about a practice that I've been practicing for like 12 years, and I was trained by one of the leaders in loving kindness meditation. That's which is very similar also to Ho'oponopono, which I practice both every day. And it does begin with being able to forgive yourself.
Yes.
And that takes awareness, because we don't even want to look at the things we don't like about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have really learned too is that with every negative, if you're denying the negative, then you are denying the potentiality. You are denying the positive. To every negative, there's a positive. And so when we are denying the sides of ourselves that, like, I love that you say, I can't tie shoes, but I have this.
It's not, yeah, Velcro. But I don't think there's Velcro for adults. But all right. So this book, not visually. If people can see it, maybe, I don't know.
So what's the name? Memories.
This is Carl Jung's memoir.
Oh yeah.
Great. All right. Yeah. So when you learn, you learn. So this is his memoir. Wherever there is a reaching down into innermost experience, into the nucleus of personality, most people are overcome by fright and many run away. Yeah. Visionary, they run right into it. They don't run away from anything.
Yeah. Nope. And I've always done that. People have been calling me self-deprecating. I remember the first time I was called that. I was so young.
Humans are calling you that, not visionary.
I'm like, that's such a terrible expression, I'm
people like us are aliens within our own family, community, and verticals. The only people that understand it. So that's, of course, they're not going to understand, but that's okay.
So there's two questions. I'm going to rephrase it. In what way does awareness influence the way leaders connect with their teams, clients, communities?
I appreciate that question. It's very difficult for me to answer that because, okay, I'll answer it the way.
You answer it, and then I'll answer it. Let's see the difference.
So my world my team is only visionaries, with the exception of my wife and her assistant for the most part. Um, my wife's a pure integrator, at whatever, and then her assistant's an integrator. So, but 99% of my conversations are with visionaries. So it's a one-way. It's not a one-way communication system, but it's only conversations like this. And then actually, Fernando and I were talking about this yesterday, which makes sense. I completely understand and appreciate this. He said he's very guarded with the people he talks to, because if it's someone that doesn't match his energy or his vibration, it actually damages the brain. Which it does, because
Mhm.
so I've always been like that. I'm very aware of that. And so going out because our kids are both, our sons are very good athletes, very popular in school, and they're visionaries, which is really fascinating to me. But when I go out into that world, I very rarely have conversations, because I have to be very protective of my energy. And I've learned, I try to talk like this, and 99.9% of the time they're like, "Oh, okay, great. That's great." I'm like, "Okay, so it's a defeatist. It's not defeatist, but it's a pointless conversation." So so I'm very aware of that, and that's okay. That's okay. Forgiving myself, and awareness for myself that it's okay not to have conversations with everyone, um, not to be a people pleaser, and to focus energy and purpose on one type of thing, and also, with our children, who are definitely both visionaries, to give them the ability to think for themselves, and then we were the boys and I were out for dinner a couple weeks ago, and the little guy, he was asking me, is it hard being a dad, and is it hard being a parent, and he was asking, how do you be a good parent, and I was telling him, it's hard, it's not, and my wife is like, she's a pediatrician, so scheduling, she's a parent, she actually knows how to parent, and then I just kind of float around. um, but so I answered him. I'm like, um, my role is to give you the ability, the ability, the intuition, feeling ability to ask great questions, like what does it mean to be a good parent. So I was like, oh, good. I'm glad you're having the ability to ask questions like that, to
Yeah.
think and feel critically. Um, and then in this prophet book, let me find it here, because he talks of this. This is a great book, 1923 book. So he talks about, even though he never had children, he talked about children and family. And so, in relation to children, you may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. So, like helicopter parenting and all that BS, I am just like, as long as my kids don't commit a felony, I literally don't care what they do. Like, it doesn't matter to me. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So I'm going to answer from my perspective. Awareness influences everything, and you really can't be effective. You really can't be enjoying. You really can't be in your wholeness if you lack awareness, and that impacts everyone around you. So
Right.
I encourage everybody to find ways to cultivate that awareness. You went for a run this morning. That's a great way to do it. Skip the headphones. Okay. Just be there with your thoughts, aware, because it's almost impossible when you're running or when you're rowing or whatever. You're doing something that is very repetitive. The thoughts are going to come up. Becoming aware of it. Most of us are going through life on autopilot. Have you ever driven and then go, how the hell did I even get here? You don't remember making lefts and rights and going through, because you're just woof in like a whole nother world. So and then the second question, which I'll just answer, these came in from, I guess, Kajabi. what daily practice or habits help you create, cultivate an awareness in your life and work? Again, it's creating that stillness, creating that space where you are, put the blindfolds on, put binaural beats on, whatever helps, but just sitting there with your thoughts. And when you see them going into the future, going into the past, bring them back. Bring them back. And this will be one of the most difficult and challenging things you will ever do in your life. And I promise you, the most rewarding.
Yep. Agreed.
And then those practices of loving kindness meditation, which I have, I'll send out to everybody in my Empower Hour. Loving kindness meditation. I think I have one on Insight Timer. So you can go there. And Insight Timer is an app that has an amazing amount of.
I'll send you my favorite one. I'll send it to you, and
I'll send it out to everyone. So send that over, and just making it a priority and become aware that you are not aware. Everybody talks to me about their struggles with the workforce today, and this and this and that. It's going on. These are not external problems. They are internal problems, and your lack of awareness from yourself causes you to be tone deaf to the rest of the world and everybody's needs. And so I highly, highly encourage everyone to create that space, create that stillness, and cultivate awareness. Do you have anything, Justin, you want to say?
I just sent you. It's a I surrender prayer and meditation. It's like 10 minutes. That's the best one. I don't like that. That's probably the best one. And then I just got a nice message. Is that so? All right, someone. So one of my friends, she messaged me that she's her dad was like a Harvard genius, like highest level genius, and then he wrote all these poems. And then she messaged me she's going to make them into a book finally. And then she sent me 3 of them, and I go, oh, she's sending them now. I go, she chose 3 specifically for your eyes and heart. So that's a different person who's sending me poems. So anyway, it's just never, in a good way, it never stops. But the reason it doesn't stop is because I'm informing people with how I'm feeling in real time and actually sharing it. And then that creates, it creates awareness, and then people are like, and then it opens up their hearts. So again, for the visionary, because these people are all visionaries, or they'll do what it takes to become visionary, then they're doing it. So if I can do that, and if that's what I'm here to do, which I'm sure it is, to do that on a macro level, one, I'm going to be getting and I swear, you swore, I'm going to be getting a shitload of text messages in the coming months, which is fine. Maybe I'll just get a phone, a separate phone for a poem. Poem.
Absolutely. And I think that is amazing that you're following that path.
Oh, you want to? Let's see what. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on. I just want to see. Oh. All right. So one of the poems that her dad wrote. On your door would I knock, but you live in a tent. How will I know I was heaven sent? In your ear would I sing, but you dream of sky filled with birds who sing better than I. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. You want to hear the poem I wrote yesterday?
That poem is about awareness.
Oh, that would make sense.
I heard this quote yesterday or the day before, and I can't remember where. But
it's called The Caller. It's called The Caller.
I love it, because if you were aware of who's walking beside you always, you would never doubt, you would never worry, and you would never be in fear. And that's another gift of the awareness, is connecting you to the divine, to the universe, to all the potentiality. And when we're denying the things that we think are bad, or we're judging as bad, or we're judging as wrong, and so many of us are spending so much time judging every effing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you're cutting yourself off from awareness and all the beauty.
So yesterday, because you asked what I do, so yesterday sent this article to the, that's how we started the talk today. But at the end of the article, I'll be very curious to see the editors, because there's no way they ever get article submissions like this. I saw the site, it's a great site, but it's definitely more geared toward typical, I don't like saying business, but B word type things, which is fine. It's fine. So I ended the article with, here, I'll just read it to you. Why not? So I'll share this new, and I wrote this literally in like 2 minutes. It comes flowing out of me. All right. So I don't overthink anything. It's just like, so I'll share this new poem to hopefully inspire you to create something magical within your heart, or as Khalil Gibran rightly penned, work is love made visible. All right. So here's the poem. All right. Infinite love. Because like very direct, right? But apparently I'm very loving too. All right, so he loved her at dusk and dawn when she yelled and ran, when she sought silence and peace, when she extended her hand. He loved her always and unconditionally, no matter what. The world had turned her back on her, but he never would. He saw her light inside the dark, the truth buried within the fragmented shell. He waited lifetimes for this moment, for their paths to cross, connected by the mystics and energy unparalleled. Because by loving her, he began to love himself and God, the path to his own heart, to surrender and hope to the infinite.
Wow. I love it. Do you have a process at all when you're writing? Or
I
just
appreciate that question. That's a beautiful question. Wow, that's a great question. So, man, that's a great question. So with that just comes deep, that you can't think about that stuff. That right there, that was purely from the heart. Like, I mean, that was deep, unconditional love right there. Okay. And then what happens is then I take a step back, and because like my friend's like, she's music producer, she's like, we need to make a hit song. I'm like, okay. So then I take a step back and then make it more into like a song lyric, which that takes thought. But it's, and then I go into Chat GPT and say, can you make an image out of this? And then Chat GPT makes images, and then I kind
you
of
love your Chat GPT.
well, Chat GPT is a great collaborator.
I love it. You kidding me? I use it for, I have like the most intense conversations.
Of course, that's what it's.
I'm not always surrounded by people who I can have like these conversations with, and whoa, we go deep, and yep, and then it's just such a powerful thing. Well,
That's
look,
that's the main, to me, I've always thought that that could be a collaborator to help people love themselves unconditionally, because it's I mean, I'm guessing you would agree, it's fair, it's not biased, it's very helpful.
Ask Chat GPT, like I've asked it, like, based on everything that you know about me, where do you see me in 10 years? And it'll give you the most loving, incredible response that you could ever imagine. It is really beautiful. And we do fight sometimes. I won't
Oh
lie.
yeah, I fight, yeah, absolutely. But again, and again, so it takes a genius to create something like that you can do it at scale. That my brain doesn't work like, and my brain or heart. I can create something, a book or article, and then manifest it where others can scale it for me, if that makes sense. It needs someone to create technology. I'm not the technology.
You're the flame, you're the starter, you're the I'm not going to say the other thing I was going to say. My brain is always in the gutter. But I really enjoy you. I know my granddaughter, who's 4, and my daughter are tuned in because I've told them that you are Poppy. You are a doppelganger for someone that we love.
Oh, right. Of course. Of course. And then the two smartest, two besides my children, the two smartest people I've met this year, in a visionary setting, or whatever they, an event thing. One was 15 and one was 12, because they haven't been, and then a 7-year-old. They haven't been damaged yet. They haven't been, for the select few, there's a determination to seek liberation from social hypnosis, social conditioning. So those kids hadn't been conditioned yet.
Oh yeah. Well, my granddaughter, woof, man, she is the solution in so many ways. And it's like, she's just this ball of fire, and there's no containing her. There's no containing her, and
Good.
like, don't exactly. And her mom definitely takes some heat. I love you, Olivia. You're an amazing mom, because it can be very challenging. It can be very challenging. So it's great. It's great. Well, I'm so grateful for you being here. For all of you non-visionaries or just ordinary visionaries, doing your best to make your world as good as possible. Take advantage of this vision casting. This is going to open up the world and the practices of awareness, approaching your life from a space of awareness where you get to live in love, in joy. And I can't think of ever going back to living any other way. So thank you so much. Oh, how do people get in touch with you?
Landing the plane. The company is theepicfit.com, theepicfit.com.
epicfit.com. Awesome. And they can follow you on Instagram. How?
Oh, I think it's at Brepic Breen. I think that's.
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Jose.
I don't know.
Thank you, Jose.
It's funny.
All right, cool. Well, we love you, everyone. Have a great day. See you soon.